Hey, how's it going? It's the Polk here. Welcome back to the Haiti series. I definitely have learned a lot playing through this series. This is the first one I played with 1.9, and I think I'm playing it a little too closely to how we used to play things, so I wouldn't take anything I'm doing with, like, too much confidence of how it should be done. I think it also got muddy with me joining the French power block, and prices are weird and things are just weird. So I haven't gotten like a really good idea of how things should be done for the update. So definitely go experience it for yourself. But I'm gonna check in on my population here because this standard living is lower than I'd like to see. So it says they're struggling with most of their needs met. The only big one is going to be coal here, which we'll see. It looks like clothes are selling really well in the world market. I don't know why. Maybe we are exporting. Yeah, it looks like we're exporting. I don't remember getting laissez-faire, but it says that we're forced to use privatization. Weird. I don't know what that tooltip was about. Anywho, let me look at our current obligations. So we got 10 weeks left on this treaty between commerce of Mexico and France, which allows for investment rights there. Same thing. And then, why am I looking at Mexico? Why did that come up at all? Okay, anyways, ignore what I just said. So I've got a Haitian-French treaty where France is giving me 600 and then 200 iron, which is probably going to die soon. And then this one's no longer binding, where I'm giving them no subventions on clothing, but they get military access. I think we might look at that one in a second. We did a state transfer with Venezuela, which gave us this portion of Bolivar. It's got 13 months left on it, and we're paying them 3K, so that's about what we're negative here. We also give them monopoly on bananas in our country and some guns and investment rights. And then Honduras, we've got basically exporting clippers to Honduras in exchange for us getting a monopoly on coffee and investment rights in their country. So it's got 29 months. So that means we don't have anything going on with New Granada or Britain. I think Britain still hates us. Yes, New Granada, it does like us. I'm just going to see what we're looking at for a state transfer. 326, 196. We could possibly get Panama if we played that right. That's kind of booty. Okay. We could maybe return to that. Does I don't think America wants to give us anything, and I doubt Mexico does, but we can look at it. See, like Yucatan would be the most logical. They're willing to give us some interesting ones like California before they give us Yucatan, which is insane. Private industry is building right now. We got foreign queues going. Looks like we don't have everything switched over to iron, so we should probably do that. See if we can use all of that. We are trying to pass proportional taxation, which will help us significantly, I think. That's going to bring in, there you go, 7K extra, 7.5K extra, which is going to really help that budget. Of course, I think we changed a bunch of PMs right before the end of the last one, so that's why we're kind of down. Okay, I need to choose a new tech. I think we have rubber, right? Can't remember. It wouldn't hurt us to go for like combustion engines. Oh, we definitely have rubber with Bolivar, so I'm gonna grab vulcanization. And then we can look at, I need that one. We could go for like mutual funds, maybe. We really need to step up our education, that's for sure. So right now we've got a company that makes tobacco, coffee, and sugar. I'm going to look at potentially a new company. This one would be nice. It would give us extra minting, which is just money. This one would help us build glass and furniture, which are currently not a profitable business. So I don't know if that's a good idea. And then here we have livestock and cotton, and I'm not really about that personally because we don't really need those low tier goods. So I'm just going to go for the minting right now and get more loyalists as well. An ideal company would be something that helps me build iron or helps me build like any kind of construction loop. We haven't asked France for something like states in a while. Corsica. Oh, actually, hold on. We could probably get French Carnatic. That's 500,000 people. I don't know where that is. Also, the Niger Delta. What options do we have? The Indian Ocean territory. They won't give us Guyana, but if we can convince them to give us another state, and then we kind of do a trade backseas, that might be a way to do it. The French West Indies wouldn't be impossible. The easiest one is going to be French Carnatic. So let me find out where that is really quick. It's a split state and Carnatic. Okay, so it's this little piece here in India. A treaty port to the British, which, do we have that right now? I don't think we have direct trade ability with Britain, so that might help. It also might help us discuss like, hey, we'll give you that for, you know, this. Who knows? So I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna talk to France, and if we get a really good trade deal, I might swap out the states if there's something else to work there. Okay, so we'll take it was Karnataka, and then Niger Delta was also one. It does have 1 million people. That might be a better one. Malaria, though. What are we dealing with here? Also a state that Britain would probably want. Yeah. Is there... Okay, so Britain would probably want that one more. 215,000 GDP versus 500,000. So there's half as many people here, but they're producing twice as much GDP, so the per capita is higher. 43 infrastructure there. We could actually build there. And this, 200,000 people are starving. I think we'll go for this one. It makes a little more sense with, you know, it being like maybe a couple trade routes away. That's India would be a hard swing of a historic, you know, trade or something. So go in here, draft a treaty, and we'll talk about getting the French Niger Delta. I mean, there was another one, right? I think there was something else in here. French Indian Ocean territory, but that is really bad. Yeah, we're gonna go for that Niger Delta. At worst, we get some new pops moving over here, and since we're like Afro-Caribbean, we might have something in common with Niger populations. Okay. So what can we give them? We can give them company monopoly. Last I checked, okay, so textiles were doing good. Dye plantations were not. They don't really care for that. They would love trade center monopolies, but they can eat that one. We can't really change too much. They would want Guyana. They're never gonna get that. I don't really think there's any laws that they want us to pass. They're not like overly aggressive with any of that. It's not like I have like, for example, like slavery passed. Maybe children in like mines and stuff they might want to change, you know, just overall human decency. Yeah, so nothing in there. Yeah, I don't think because we're in their market, I don't think there's gonna be much we can trade there, unfortunately. And I don't think we're gonna ever be able to trade with Britain again because we're gonna market with them. I mean, it's not that bad actually. North Borneo would be a decent one. South Cameroon. 1 million people, that's nice. South Atlantic Islands. What about their portion of Niger Delta? They'd actually be willing to give that up. And I'm sure France would want that. Oh, that's yeah, from diplomatic stance. So it's probably not likely, but we do have more options through them, I think. Really no laws that they want either. And then yeah, they want, okay, cool. That's fine, I guess. Just keep pushing on. Got a little bit of a bureaucracy shortfall with some unrealized taxes. That's probably, some of that's got to do with us integrating. Looks like there's a very sizable war going on. Okay. Germany's trying to unify. Yep. Cut Northern German Federation down to size, return the Rhineland, and return North Rhine as a secondary demand. I don't think, I'm not being pulled into it, and they're also not, you know, nobody's giving me favor to go into it, so that's fine. That's also another way I could potentially get something from France. It looks like more than likely Germany, well, they do have quite a lot of battalions, but they may end up losing it just because of sheer number of players, but we'll keep an eye on it and we'll report back to it. That balance is looking good. We kind of recovered, not fully. We were at 12, we were now at 10, but we went down, I think, to 8 or so. So we've somewhat recovered from our changes in PMs and demands and stuff. Unfortunately, I think that does mean we're going to downsize on furniture and things like that. Yeah, and then no furniture, glasses. Is that furniture not in Haiti? It is in Haiti, so why am I not the market owner? Oh, I guess because, yeah, it's French market. Okay. And then glass, I'll look at that real quick. So they're expanding. Yeah, I let up a lot of my control by joining the French market. I could leave it, maybe. So I need to have a lot less leverage advantage, and I think most of that's coming from them owning our stuff. And we're not building right now, which we could with this balance. I don't know how much that's going to help us, but we could potentially work on some universities. We have 10 of them in Haiti proper. There's not a lot of population for us to build other stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a coal mine in Costa Rica. Oh well, we really just barely, yeah, it's fine. We'll do it. But I'm going to build that coal there, and then that way we've got something being produced, and I'm glad they have a little bit of iron in each of these. But they actually, see, they're not producing because they're using rail. There is no rail in that state. Right? Well, there is. Oh no, that was Bolivar. Okay, yeah, there's no rail there, so we need to definitely make sure we're not killing that economy in that state because of rail requirements that they can't be met. Looks like everything else is good. Oh, no. That one, and yeah, we switched that already. Okay, well, coal's expensive there, not surprising. But can they get it from here? I don't remember if there's coal there. There's not. Okay. I should be subsidizing these. I am. They need transportation. They do have rail here. This also needs to be subsidized. It is. It's just very expensive for that to operate. We could reduce the amount of the military in this state. There's also far too many ports here. I don't know what this is about. Are we subsidizing all the ports? We are. It's a population issue, which is a Realistically, population issues generally boil down to not having a welcoming enough country so that people don't move there. Um, you're happy, you're neutral. I'll go for the happiness booster, the intelligentsia. Try to get those parties happy. And then as far as this bureaucracy, let me see if I can fix that now. There's definitely some failing businesses, but that's something we're gonna have to live with. We can produce more artillery, and France is about to go to war, so I'll just switch that. Rice could use fertilizers, and it's going to be profitable, and maize can as well. Switch over to tools, but that doesn't seem like that would be a good idea. Do that. Okay, cool. Coal, we could switch over to a condensing pump. At least in our one coal mine that we're going to be using. And use a steam and a dynamite. That's good. Coffee, we could use automatic irrigation. It's going to use more engines, but that's fine. Same thing for cotton, and same thing for dyes. What about tobacco? We have 66 levels of tobacco plantations. Yes, please. Sugar? Yes. Looks like everything's going to be mostly profitable from these switches, so I'm just going to keep doing it. We are going to have a ton of demand for engines, though. Okay, so we can adjust this with the Bahamas, so I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to filing cabinets, and then there we go. We have that bureaucracy shortfall covered. There's a rubber rush in Bolivar. I say, let's boost the migration attraction in Bolivar. Because that is a state that needs it. And honestly, I'm going to cut this. It's a 1.5K, but what I want to see is I want to see a growth in population through greener grass there. So right now, population is declining in Bolivar, and I want to see that not happen. Turmoil's not great there, and infrastructure is low, but we can fix that. We'll build a railway there, and then switch these back to railway usage. That should help out. Okay, philanthropy. We're at consideration phase of the taxation law. I would love to improve the lower strata's standard of living, so I'm going to do that. That's going to help the migration as well. They're struggling, and I imagine it's probably due to food costs in the state directly. So let's look at the largest group of population, the laborers. Yeah, groceries, clothes are their largest expense. Fruit. Okay, so it'd be clothes 15%, fish 11%. Yeah, so they're not able to afford to live here, so we need to decrease the cost of things for them. If we could build a clothing factory in either of these states, that would be awesome. I think maybe this one. This one's got gold that needs people fulfilled, but says it wouldn't be profitable. Are clothes expensive? Not necessarily. Okay. Local prices. I mean, 29% more expensive in Bolivar compared to the French market's not great. I think we are going to go on a, like, let's say, is there any rice farms here? No, there's not even a grain farm here. They don't have livestock, bananas. They're not even growing food. So I'm going to go ahead and help them with a rice farm. It's going to compete with other industries, I know, but like it's something that we need to provide for them. Grain's actually kind of expensive in the French market. 9% compared to 3%. So this would be a very profitable option. We can't grow rice here, but we can maybe grow maize. And Yeah, we're gonna need infrastructure, but I'm working on the railway there. So let's help them out with maybe a little bit more food, and then we'll swap into a second there. Just so the food over here is dealt with. In fact, I don't think we even don't have rice over here either. The Bahamas are probably struggling, so we're just gonna throw rice everywhere. It's not cheap in their market, so it makes sense to expand it. And each state that has it that provides jobs and, you know, gives them a little bit better of a standard of living. And then where we were going with that was next up, they should be able to afford clothes. There's no textile mills here or here. It says this would be a positive predicted earning, and this would not. But I'd rather the gold mines be manned there, so I'm going to do one in Bolivar. I don't know why there's I mean, the tools kind of make sense here, but maybe we should go down to wrought iron because iron's actually in this state. And then we got to figure out a coal solution. But that should help both of these industries out. We got to start looking closer at how things are. Oh wow, hold on. Bahamas. Bahamas have 34% turmoil. That could be 20,000 people. It's not worth it. Go for modernization. But I need to start paying attention to like the individual state needs, and not so much my giant economy tied with France. Oh look, more tax waste. So we'll probably bump up one. Probably bump up the one in the Bahamas again. It looks like rubber plantations grew like crazy for some reason. Yeah, standardize all across the board should help, but not enough. Is paper expensive now? Looks like we got one paper mill. It's a little more expensive in our market, but in the world market it's very expensive. So paper might be a good option to help out some of these fledgling communities. Fledgling. See, we don't have a lot of population, so getting these railways built, it's really going to help out, at least over there. Okay, so we do have a positive 25,000 migration annually here, so that'll help out quite a lot. Versus like a minus 3K, what we were experiencing. Bureaucracy-wise, we could probably fix that pretty quick. There's no states that need tax, but I'll get a throughput here anyways, and it is the lowest tax rate, so I'm going to pop that one up to the top just to get that bureaucracy fixed, because that is taxes we are not collecting. And it's not going to be this full 7K here. It's going to be, yeah, it's just 6% of that. The tax waste is coming from probably turmoil. Haiti's got 5K in tax waste. Let me look at that. Yeah, turmoil. And we should be able to solve that with some better laws and things. So it changed by 90K due to decreases in standard of living, having a standard of living below the expected, and being fired, but being fired is not a huge portion of that. Just got electricity, it looks like. Let me start looking state by state, seeing if there's anything I can help. The tools here aren't doing great, but I think that's just because France produces precision tools, I think, maybe. Well, they are cheaper in our market than anywhere else. That's a big company. Looks like motor industries are struggling here, and I'm not really sure why that would be, because these prices are insane. Like, this thing should be doing great, but it's not building up cash reserves for some reason. Like, I know coal's a little more expensive here, but it's not that bad. This would employ more people, which is exactly what I don't need. Produce less engines. Discord with Intelligentsia. Well, we can get another plus 5 or 15% for 5% traction to the Intelligentsia, so I'm down. Let's do that. at 86% for that tax law. Our budget's gotten up to 10K, which is awesome. We can start maybe pulling back on some of these consumption taxes, but let's do this. Let's help out our people. Let's bring down overall taxation right before we do a new tax law that's going to bring us in 10K in revenue anyways. So, society-wise, we could maybe go for really nothing. Who's our current government? We have the industrialists with modernization, so we could probably go for compulsory primary schools. Might be a good option. Hey, how's it going? It's the Polk here. Thanks for watching today's episode. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Thanks, and have a great day.